Hi, I'm Brian. Welcome to this edition of That Wilderness Survival Show. Over this series, I would like to share with you some survival skills that hopefully make your outdoor experience more enjoyable. Over the course of the next 3 shows, we're going to be studying fire. We're going to be learning the basic building of a small fire, the basic lighting of a fire without modern means, and building of small camp utensils for around camp and what we might need. To start off, we are going to need dry materials. So let's go on over here and see what we can find. So what we're looking for is we're looking for dry wood. This piece of wood is not dry. See the way it breaks and it doesn't make a nice snapping sound. What we're looking for is a tree that overhangs with its branches and keeps all the bottom branches on the tree nice and dry. We're looking for a nice crisp snap when you snap the branch off. It breaks nice and easy and breaks nice and smooth. This is the stuff that we're going to be using to start our fire. When I start a fire, I go in progression from 1 to 6. 6 being the big piece of wood that you stick in your fireplace at the end. 1 being the fine carvings with a knife that you start the fire with. I'm going to be starting a fire without paper or any help except with a match on the first fire, and then I'll be showing you a bow drill later on. You got to watch out for sticks falling on you as well. This is rotten, you don't want that. Okay, now we're going to head down to where we're going to make our fire and go from there. Some of the driest wood you're going to find in the forest is contained inside those old cedar stumps you see. You know, the ones with the notch cut out of them? Most of the time a fire's gone through and it's sealed the outside of the wood. So what happens is just below this burn is nice dry cedar wood. You want to look for the stuff up here that's pointed so the water doesn't go down inside, because if the further down it goes, the further down you're going to have to go to get it. So the trick of this is just peeling off the outside and getting the wood that's just below the surface. That's going to be your driest wood. This is perfect. This is exactly what we're looking for. A little bit burnt under the shade of a big tree, be nice and dry inside. We just take the surface off and you can see how nice and dry the wood really is. This is great for getting your fire started. Depending on the conditions you're in, if you're in like a monsoon situation, you might have to build your whole fire out of this. So you might be working on this for a little while, but this is going to be the nicest, driest wood you can get. See how it peels away? Nice big strips. Great for starting a fire. Be careful. You're dealing with a hatchet. It's sharp. Okay, I broke this stick coming up the trail because I noticed it was a really nice and dry piece of wood. You'll notice dry wood when you break it. It's got a really nice crisp snap to it. But when you're picking it up off the forest floor, it's kind of got a dead sound. See right below here, see how wet it is? It's been dry on the coast for quite some time now, but the forest floor is still really nice and moist. You shouldn't use this stuff for tinder or anything because it's got a lot of water content in it. So even this stuff here doesn't snap very nicely. You want to get the stuff off of a base of a tree. It's going to snap really nice, really easy, and this is going to start your fire for you. So after we've gathered everything, I'm just going to show you here what we've got. We've got something that we can carve the nice little pieces off with our knife. We've got the little stuff that we can add as it starts up, and we number up bigger and bigger and bigger. So if you've got a piece like this, you know, we might call that like a number 2 or a number 1. So this is what we want to do, is we want to build the fire, get it rolling, and then we can start adding the bigger stuff. If the bigger stuff's a little bit damp and you've got a good fire and you've started it really well, you're going to get a fire out of the end. So let's go find a good safe place to light our fire. I think that's going to be the beach.
The water is cold. You can't reach the boat. You have 10 minutes before hypothermia sets in. No one knows you went boating. Hypothermia causes death in cold water. If your boat capsizes, do you know how to protect yourself? Be boat smart. Know the risks of cold water.
My Alexa has phys ed 3 times a week. She gets enough activity.
Fact is, kids need at least 60 minutes of physical activity per day, every day. Visit our website to learn how to get your kids more active.
My Jamie plays soccer twice a week. That's plenty of activity.
Fact is, kids need at least 60 minutes of physical activity per day, every day. Visit our website to learn how to get your kids more active.
I'm Natalie McMaster. For over 30 years, Development and Peace has helped poor people improve their lives. In Asia, Africa, and Latin America, the organization has helped promote community development and also provides emergency relief when disaster strikes. Please lend a hand by giving generously to Development and Peace. Together, we will put joy in the hearts of many.
So what we're going to do now is show you a proper place to build a fire. Of course, being on a beach, anywhere down below the log line is a good spot. You want to avoid places that are really punky and mossy due to the fact that fires do go down, and if you don't get your fire out 100%, you could start a forest fire a day, a week, a month from after you left because the coals just burn down into the ground. So we want to have a nice base to build our fire on. So what we're going to do is we're going to build it right here, move a spot out of the way, and I'm going to get some rocks to make a small ring. You want to avoid rocks that have been in the water for long periods of time. The water seeps into the stone, and if you heat the stone too much, water expands 1,700 times and it can make the rock explode. Your best bet is to grab rocks that have been in a bank or something like that for a long time, not down at the ocean or a creek. Being how we're at the ocean, we're not going to build a big fire here. This is demonstration purposes, so we're not going to worry too much about that. But please be careful. Rocks do contain water and they can explode. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the construction of a simple fire. What we want to do is we want to light the fire, call it one match system, so that we don't have to use outside implements like paper, God forbid fuel. We want to do this so that you see how to light a fire the simplest ways. To start off, we have to have dry wood, which we've collected earlier. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just take our dry wood and we're going to prepare it the way that we need to. Anybody that knows me knows I always carry a knife. So the inside of this, even the outside of this is dry. The inside of this is nice and dry. So what we're going to do is we're going to take small shavings off of here, and that's going to be the base for our fire. So what we want to do is we just want to cut them nice and easy. Always cut away from yourself. And what we're going to do is we're going to make our are steps toward making a nice cooking fire. See, stuff like this, nice and thin, easy to light. Wood doesn't actually burn. Wood actually gives off a gas that burns. So what you have to do is you have to heat the wood to 400 degrees. It's way easier to heat when it's nice and thin. Then you want to add your bigger pieces to your fire. Fire is all in the preparation. If you can prepare your fire to the best of your ability and get it going really well the first time, you don't have to do this all over again. Practice makes perfect. What we want to do is, you can practice this at home, you can practice it in your fireplace. You can practice it in your backyard when you're going to be cooking for your kids. It makes it easier in the bush if you've practiced a lot. So we're just going to whittle this down for a bit. Get a nice base. I find that if you cut up lots of shavings, it gets a nice hot little fire going fairly quickly. And of course, a sharp knife never hurts. You're going to get a little bit black because, like we were talking about earlier, this is an old charred stump. So we're just going to move this off to the side and start out with the smallest and thinnest pieces possible. So, see, nice little curls like that? That's what you want to start with. So you're going to put those at the very base. Nice and small. Remember, you're starting with nice dry wood that we got out of that stump. So, and you can build it up a little tiny bit from here, so that once you start, once your fire gets rolling, it just keeps building up and building up. A lot of people like to start with a teepee type fire because it seems to draw the heat from the center and bring it up. So it brings everything from the base and comes up. So that's what we're going to do today. So what we've done is we've put some pieces off to the side. Like if I use my numbering system, this is all number 1, transition 1 to 2. And we've got all those pieces that we broke out of the forest. The small thin pieces, nice and easy, snaps good. So what you want to do is you want to start short because you don't want to make a tall teepee out here. So you're going to lean them up against nice and easy, and you're going to lean them up just against the edge like this. And what I like to do is build it up a little bit on the edge like this. You don't want to go too big with these. You just want to keep the edges like this nice fine stuff. It burns hot and it burns fast. So what you want to do is you just kind of want to break it up almost like a tinder bundle. Oh, there's a word. A tinder bundle. That's what we're going to be showing you on the next show, how to light a fire with a bow drill. So what we're going to do is we're going to build it up like this, nice and easy. And you can even go a little bit bigger. Now, what I like to do is I like to break everything up on the outside edge. I know you might be in a situation where you're cold and wet and you really, really want to get your fire going. But believe me, once you've got everything prepared, you will get your fire going and you'll be a lot happier than trying to start again and again and again. So this is a true case of where haste makes waste. you want to do it all, do it right, do it once. While we're doing this, just make our, if you find some pieces that look like you want to put them on, just nice and easy. Remember you want to make a teepee type shape here. Just like this. And it doesn't hurt to go a little bit big, but you don't want to go really big. And you can even take this kind of stuff here and you can carve it down because it's nice and dry and it forms the really, 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 really fine ones that you could want. Okay, and when you split it off like this, the inner parts of the wood here will catch a lot faster than the outer bark will. Now sometimes when I'm wanting to build up more of a fire area, take out my hatchet, use a little bit of wood that you've gathered, a little bit bigger stuff. You get yourself a nice hard surface, not a rock because you're going to hurt your hatchet, and you just kind of whittle off the outside edge of it. See how it comes off in nice little curls like that? Those work really, really, really well. So you don't want to hit them too hard and make a big mess because you're going to be collecting it up. A nice little end like that, you just keep it off to the side and you're going to add it to your fire when your fire gets going. So now that I've shown you how to do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to start the fire and keep it going.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a neighborly day in this beauty wood, a neighborly day for a beauty. Would you be mine? Please won't you be my neighbor?
I've been a part of the Warrior and Pechant program because I was born with only one hand. They cover the expenses of my arms and all my different devices.
They're there to answer your every question. The services they provide, the financial help, the emotional help, the information. The War Imps has certainly eased the path quite a bit.
When I look at all the things that I've achieved, just because I practiced and I was confident in myself.
Erica's moving right through life and enjoying it. She loves life.
You have to believe in yourself and you'll achieve your dreams.
Planting trees in our communities is well worth the effort. But if you don't look after them, they may not make it. Urban trees need a little maintenance to survive. Not much. But your extra care will help replenish the urban forest and give us something we all need. Fresh air. Trees do their part. Let's do ours.
Okay, so now that we've got most of our transition wood from like number 1, we don't have number 6 here because I'm not going to build you a full-size fire. You go up to about number 4 or so. Get yourself a nice little, get it all laid out so it's nice and close to you. All your pieces are broken into nice lengths. Everything goes, so you just have to grab it and put it on the fire. So you're going to light the fire and then you're going to have to get down close to it and you're going to have to blow on it because it's going to need air. So what we're going to do is light the fire and then it's just going to be a series of a progression of bigger and bigger wood. You can see the small teepee I've got built here. I like to keep it small and build it as I go. I don't like to get everything together, because usually what happens is that you burn the center out of the fire, and the outer wood doesn't get going. So what we're going to do is we're going to light this fire with a match. Now your matches. We got a nice sunny day here. A lot of situations that you get into, you're in not so nice and sunny. Rainy, windy, the whole thing. It's important to keep your matches dry. There's lots of different ways. There's small containers that are built for just that purpose. A Ziploc bag. If you carry a Ziploc bag, a good thing to do is throw a little piece of sandpaper in there, because you're going to have wet rocks, you're going to have everything is not going to be conducive to striking a strike anywhere match. I like safety matches or survival matches as well. They've got a bit of a coating on them. The thing about those is you can only strike those on their box. So it's entirely up to you. There's hundreds and hundreds of ways to keep your matches dry. Just pick one and go with it. But remember, you need something to strike your matches on. A small piece of sandpaper doesn't hurt at all. So here we go. We're going to strike the match, and it's going to go right underneath in the backside here, where I've got all the smallest and finest bits. And then we're going to just build the fire up. I'm going to have to blow on it a little bit to get it going, and it'll start to roll, and then we start adding wood to it. So here we are, just lighting the fire here. You want to have some of your smaller bits as well, just off to the side. And you want to keep it going. You want to keep that heat in the fire. But I don't even have to blow on it. We got a little breeze here. Sometimes you have to watch out for the breeze blowing your match out as well. But you notice how nicely the cedar burns that I got off of that old stump. So, no paper, just wood. You don't need to light your fire with wood, but remember, it takes practice. So now we got a nice little fire rolling here. Now we start to add the bigger pieces of wood. The stuff I chipped off the outside of the block. You just keep it going. All your bits of wood are right nice and close by. It's a good way to start a cooking fire as well, because what happens is it burns nice and hot right in the beginning and gives you a nice little bed of ashes. And the bed of ashes and the coal are conducive to wilderness cooking or cooking on an open fire. So we're just going to keep adding to it, keeping things in the middle. Remember, you don't want to smother it off. It needs to get air, so that's why you don't want big plates of wood. And you just want to build it up so you get lots of good heat coming out of it. You can hear that cedar starting to crackle a little bit. Now you can start to add a little bit bigger pieces here. I like to add stuff around the outside, especially if it's a little bit damp. So you build your fire here, and then you just start to add your pieces, your smaller pieces that are nice and dry. And if anything you even suspect has got a bit of moisture in it, you can just put it around the outside of the fire like this. Kind of keeps your fire together, and it burns. And when it comes time for it to start burning, you can just kind of roll it into the fire as well. So you want to keep a nice little fire going here. This is the important stage. If you have to run away right now and get more firewood, this isn't going to last very long. If you're gone for a couple of minutes, this will just go out. That's not what you want. So you want to have collected everything that you're going to need to get your fire going before you light your fire. So we light the fire, like I reiterated before, we light the fire down below the log line. That way if anything happens, Usually the tide can come up because we are at the ocean. You don't want to build your fire anywhere that it could get away from you. As you can see how important it is to have everything that you're going to need nice and close by so that you can get a decent little fire going. For you to keep warm by or to cook your food with, whatever the reason you're starting your fire. And like I said before, it's fairly easy to practice this. You can practice it at home, you can practice it in your backyard, you can practice it in your fireplace. But practice is something that everybody has to do. You're not going to know this just by reading it in a book. You're not going to know this by watching this TV show is a good point. It'll give you some pointers on how to do it and what to do. If you don't do it yourself, you're not going to be able to do it out in the wild. So remember, practice, practice, practice. Well, we got a nice little fire going here. You notice that when you start a fire like this, and it burns fairly clean, there's not a lot of smoke. If you're starting a fire that has a lot of moisture in it and it isn't starting very well, you're going to get a lot of smoke coming off of it. But the good dry wood that you've chosen well, the good dry wood that you've chosen is what's going to keep your fire burning nice and clean and hot. This fire will burn down a little bit. We'll get a nice bed of coals for us to cook on, keep warm by, and yeah, so we just have a really good little fire going here. And that's how you start a fire, with one match and no paper. And on our next show, I'm going to show you how to do it without matches. What we're going to do is we're going to build a bow drill, and I'm going to show you how to use it. That is something that takes a lot of practice as well. So I hope you enjoyed this show, and join me on the next one when we light fire by friction.